The Apocalypse Players present Crimson Letters. A Call of Cthulhu 7th edition scenario by Alan Bligh. Starring Joseph Chance as Dr. Jonas Steinweg, Danann McAleer as Professor Duckworth, Dan Wheeler as Kirk Sleep, PI. With our special guests, Doug McAndrew as Dr. Althea Montrose and Mike Perceval-Maxwell as PJ Mahoney. The Keeper of Arcane Lore is Dominic Allen. Chapter 14, Supernatural Horror in Academia.
Am I still in my bout of madness where I think everyone's mocking me with their facial injury?
No, that's probably past.
Okay.
So we're all sane for now, sort of.
Well, hello, Mr. Dr. Steinweg.
Did I have a chance to have a look at Wheatcroft's body? Is he dead, or was there a chance to do a bit of first aid?
No, he's unconscious. You can do some first aid on him for sure. Yeah.
I'd like to attempt that if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh dear, that hasn't gone well. It's just a fail.
To be fair, as you're not under pressure, and there are enough doctors in the room, even Steinweg can probably patch up Dr. Wheatcroft.
Oh, fine.
Enough time.
Well, is it fair to say that in us gathering together, I've realised he's still alive and dragged his body out and...
Yeah. So I think you're all probably now stood in this morgue while two of you are sort of patching up Dr. Wheatcroft and making sure he's stable. And Wick says, I wish I could enlighten you further, Mr. Mahoney, but unfortunately, all I know is that whoever has these papers is either attempting to inflict this upon us, or the papers have gotten the better of them, and they have lost control. We need to find them. Stop whoever's using them.
And who is your best guess for that?
You tell me.
Where are you taking those bodies? Back to the restaurant? Back for another case of ribs?
He demurs. He says the bodies will become essential once we have the papers.
You remind me, Wick, remind us, what are you planning on doing with these papers once we find them? Excuse me, I had an exhausting day, and my memory is playing tricks on me. What did you say you were going to do what was your plan with these papers?
First of all, the papers need to be sealed. They need to be found, and they need to be made safe. I'm probably the only person who can do that, given what I've seen today. I don't know who has them, and they might be very dangerous. They might not want us to take them from them. But once we've done that, once they've been made safe, my price is that I get to keep the papers and not the university.
You were so desperate for us to burn the other papers because they were based on something that kept something in, stopped something being released. Why would we trust you with the actual papers?
Those papers had to be destroyed because they were... The original papers are the ones that are keeping something contained, but they have been broken open by these fakes.
I see.
If the fakes are allowed to exist, then there will always be a little hole, if that makes sense.
What? I don't even know what you're talking about. Making a hole with a paper and burning and releasing. I have no idea. But look, I mean, these men are dead here. We gotta stop whoever's causing this. Forget about the paper nonsense. I don't care about that. We gotta stop whoever's causing people's deaths here.
Exactly so. And presumably, you must have some idea.
Oh, we got a few leads, but nothing really concrete as yet. It's all surmise and hearsay and whatnot and so forth.
Perhaps we missed something. I say this specifically to Mahoney as I am attending to the mortician. And by the way, throughout the whole of this discussion, I've been fastidiously cleaning off blood from my face, both mine and Roche's. And probably doing more of that, but making it look like I'm looking after Wheatcroft. But I'm finally sort of getting to Wheatcroft, and I say, but perhaps we missed something, investigator... No, sorry, Security Master Mahoney.
Security Master, I like that.
Back at the house of Mr. Flinders, perhaps there was something that we missed. Certainly the bathroom we did not investigate nearly as well as I would have liked.
There wasn't nothing in the bathroom.
That's exactly what I think, you see. Both of us left it in such a hurry that perhaps we missed something. There is a chance that it was hidden there, maybe behind the mirror. It is my theory, Mr. Vick, that there is a connection between mirrors and these, shall we call them, occult investigations. Could you hand me that bottle of ethanol, please? And I busy myself basically by cleaning yet again, this time my hands, in a grand show of looking like I'm about to do some medical work on Wheatcroft, but not really yet doing it.
The psychologist.
So, can I just check? Where is Roach? Has he been...
They've carted him.
I've assumed that they've taken Roach, right? Yeah. So the evidence of the body has been taken.
Yeah. Even though I've now ceased my bout of madness, I feel like I still saw his neck being burned by the hands of Admiral Wick.
Yeah.
So I think I might say, well, Mr. Wick, you say we must look for whoever's hurting these people, we must put a stop to this, but what did you do to that man just now? No foul, Roach.
I understand why you are asking this, but it's not the same. It is not the problem that we have been hired, and I begin to shake as I say this. I have not been hired to solve that problem. I do not think that we need to go there.
Please.
No, Dr. Duckworth, please.
Doctors, please.
Dr. Montrose, Dr. Montrose, won't you take my part?
Quibbling and whatnot, and mirrors and whatever out of this just now. Listen, we gotta focus. We can deal with all that later.
All of our collective knowledge and everything we have learned today, surely the answer must present itself. What are we missing? What obvious component of this mystery are we missing?
I think it is back in the bathroom, Dr. Montrose, and I say it, and it's probably a terrible bit of attempt at...
I saw nothing.
Persuade. I'm going to try and persuade the entire group.
Why are you so keen on getting people back into that bathroom?
But not Wick. I'm not going to try and persuade Wick. I'm going to try and persuade the group that... This is what I'm trying to persuade, Dom. I'm trying to persuade them that we should all go back to the bathroom for Wick's sake, but we're not really interested in the bathroom. So I'm basically trying acting. I don't have a skill in acting.
Oh, is this a kind of, we should go...
Back to the bathroom. And I've said it once heavily to Mahoney, and now I'm saying even more heavily to Montrose.
So what are you trying to...
Can I make a psychology roll to know what he's getting at, to know that he's...
Yeah, do we all have to do psychology rolls?
Maybe we should do psychology
anyway. I fail. So yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to go back to that bathroom.
Let's have a little brief moment of meta chat, because so I have just been spoken to by I guess because I'm Mason through Amelia Court, who knows? And what I don't know is that happened because I failed a pushed roll, right? So I don't know that might actually be a very, very bad advice. But what I've been told is that I need to drop it and eliminate Abner Wick. Didn't use the word eliminate, but...
Yeah. Stop him.
Stop him. And I think we're all in agreement that he's not to be trusted.
He's not a good guy.
And getting the papers ending up in his hands is possibly worse than just letting them carry on.
But at the same time, he is clearly the most informed of anyone on what the true nature of these things are, and we've seen enough to know that, this is not just an academic treatise, well, to varying degrees amongst the group, but Dr. Montrose, for her own mind, is inclined to believe Wick, but absolutely he is not to be trusted.
So PJ has also heard a woman's voice coming out of the reanimated corpse of Anthony Flinders, which warned him to stay away as well. Now, as a player, my thinking is that maybe we can sort of partially trust Abner Wick that he's not the worst person to have these things in his hand. And clearly, this is some sort of ritual described in these papers that keeps some great horror at bay.
Yeah.
If we believe him, whereby the mistranslation has actually opened a hole, so possibly it can get through. However, PJ doesn't believe any of that shit.
No. No, PG doesn't, and nor would or should he. Dr. Montrose,
he knows something freaky's going on, but he just doesn't understand it. But you're going to try and do the right thing, but what he perceives as the right thing might be the very worst thing you could do. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I think Duckworth is probably inclined to believe that Wick is a means to an end, or a means to, nearly an end. But I'd happily kill him. Not happily. I'm not a murderer, but I don't know. I wish I'd had a chance to have a good look at Roach's corpse as well, because there's also that element of if Wick's got this gang of motorcyclists who just turn up and clear up bodies for him, it's well, how much does he actually need us? Are we a buffer between him and his men and whatever we're going to find?
This is what I'm slightly curious about. What does he need from us? Because he does
need it to be harsh sanities that shatter, and then they come off and clean up the pieces and take the...
Yeah, do we really know more than he does about the potential location of the papers? Is that all?
I think also there might be something of the fact that he is, in his way, a go-between. Because I think his front is perfect for his other actual business. Because he said that he was doing it to protect humanity. Back at lunch that we had, Mahoney, Montrose and Steinweg all had lunch with him, and he said, I'm doing this to protect humanity. And it wasn't that was a lie, as from what I've got written down. It was that he has a client who would pay a lot of money.
Yes.
Now, what that person is up to could be horrific, right? Because as PJ is suggesting,
right, there is an unnamed client,
and probably linked to the gangsters we met. Well, not necessarily, but because obviously that was also linked into
Leiter's problem,
Leiter's sort of gambling addiction.
But who knows how all of that money?
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like those gangsters were very, very earthly. An earthly threat.
Yes.
And potentially a red herring.
They just want their money back.
Both.
I think
both.
In whatever fashion.
The guy had a debt, and he maybe had something of value.
And the level of that threat, but I think in some ways, Dan, and I wonder if you're onto something, because while I agree with you, they are the most earthly threat, they also asked the same question that he asked of us, which is, how do you think Leiter died? Suggesting neither Wick nor the gang bosses quite understood how Leiter came to his end. Which
I got the feeling that they just weren't convinced that he was dead, and they needed proof that he definitely was dead.
We might be hiding him.
I'm suspicious that that's simplistic, which is no offense meant, but
right. Yeah. Okay. No.
I feel like if they've got that much push and pull regarding turning up at Hibbs Roadhouse with guys, 11,000 in the room. It's I don't know. I felt like maybe they were digging in, which is maybe why we're wondering whether they have a bit more. But maybe not.
Plenty of gamblers have tried to pull the old "oh, I'm dead" trick.
Yeah, exactly.
It could just be a coincidence.
Fake your own death, get out your debts.
That's true. That is true. Well, that would be helpful and sort of iron out a kind of coincidence for me, because otherwise, kind of like, oh god, they're all asking the same question. So maybe it's just Wick doesn't know the exact occult details, whereas the others were like, is he actually dead? I need to see the body. Show me the body. Habeas corpus.
Okay.
Cool.
Either way, I guess it's are we figuring out what our motivation is to continue with this now? I
think we all have strong motivations. It's just about whether
I think we do in general, but it's also the fact that Wick has now had the bodies collected by his henchmen, who we've already met. We recognise them as they came off the motorbike. We've burnt the fake papers, which we were told by him was a very important thing to do. Now, we have to find the real papers and then give them to him?
I'm trying to find reasons, to be honest, why I don't just pull a gun on Wick. So
with that in mind,
I pull a gun on
I'm not going to pull a gun. I'm not going to pull a gun on Wick. But we're all gathered around.
Well, what purpose would it serve? Because it seems to me that Wick doesn't know what's happened to the papers, wants the papers, and is using us as his tool to get the papers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He's using us as his tool to get the papers. Can we use him?
But he says he has to do something with the papers.
Yeah, that was implied.
Which, if
Yeah.
he doesn't do, will mean consequences. Grave consequences. I'm minded to take that in good faith. Never mind all of the rest of it and what happens after, but
are you really?
But how do we know? How do we know it's not the opposite?
How do we know?
How do we know
Exactly.
that the original papers are used as a summoning agent and that these fake papers have been used to try and block whoever has them currently? And the reason he's burning all of those is because those fake papers are actually the wards on the spells done by the real witch, Kaiser Mason. I mean...
Well, in that case, so far he's been very successful in turning us to his bidding.
Yes, true.
She has been, yeah.
If we're looking at the bottom line, the bottom line is we've been employed by the university to find the papers. We found a set of papers and we set fire to them. So we either go back to the university and say, we found the papers and we set fire to them, or we try and find the real papers, assuming that those were fake papers. And we'd return them to the university. Now, if we want to trust Abner Wick, a man who employs people who I saw leap on top of a man lying on the floor and stab him to death with knives, and then cart his body off in the sidecar of a motorcycle, then, I don't know. That seems a bit crazy to me.
Yes, I agree with you, PJ, entirely.
If it facilitates things, Abner Wick actually steps out of the room momentarily. He says...
Given that speech, we really hope so, otherwise Sleep really has to shoot him now.
My ears are burning.
Oh, Mr. Wick, I see you, the facilities are just down the corridor on the right hand.
He says, he basically says, I need to speak to Hector and Carla a moment. I'll be right back. And he steps out into the corridor.
There's something funny about that Hector and Carla as well.
What happened to his face?
Goodness sake, we have to go.
Did someone have a go at
Whose face? What? Who?
Wick. That's a
Wick had a face. Something wrong.
huge welt.
Yeah, he's got quite a nasty bruise on his temple.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't know.
Did I
Bedlam.
attack? Did I attack him? I don't remember. I seem to have been somewhere else for a moment.
Oh, when we got back, you was blowing on that whistle, that tin whistle, like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah.
She looks down for a moment, almost as though she hasn't even realised it's been in her hand.
Investigated Sleep, why don't you stand by the door and listen very carefully, which means that you won't be able to hear any of our conversation, I know, but we'll catch you up with it later, okay? Yeah, okay, good. Now that he is watching the door so carefully for us, I think we very much have to get to the office and double check, look in all of the places that we did not look the first time. We think that Court might have had an involvement. Leiter felt that he had been betrayed. Both you and I felt that, yeah? And I think you too, Duckworth. Mahoney, you thought Leiter felt betrayed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he did hide them somewhere in the office, some secret panel or something.
Maybe, that is one, and the other is that we should go around to Courts. So my ruse that I was trying to sell to you all was perhaps maybe we pretend that we go back to Flinders' cottage, or Leiter's cottage, I beg your pardon, but actually we go to the Courts' cottage and the house or apartment where she lives, and also maybe the back to Leiter's office. Can he hear anything? I don't think he can. Sleep's not back yet, so...
Somebody was in contact with this Cecil fella at the asylum. A woman.
Yeah.
Dr. Duckworth.
Who could that have been?
Dr. Duckworth, you were the one to enlighten us. Do you remember?
What, about the female contact?
Yeah, the picture.
Yes. I suppose I was.
Wait, Sleep's coming back. Sleep's coming back. Shh. Sleep, what did you hear? Did you hear
something?
Did you hear Vic coming back?
And here's another weird thing, and a night of weird things happening. When I saw Flinders outside, his eyes, something wrong with his eyes, but he was talking real funny. He was talking with a funny voice. It was almost like a lighter, like a woman's voice almost he was using when he was talking to me. It's real weird.
Projection of the psychosomatic.
Yes, his eyes were like fireflies.
Like fireflies.
Horrible.
No. This is, my friends, I don't like to consider this lightly at all. But we may be in the presence of something truly, truly remarkable. The presence of something deeply supernatural.
Yeah, Doctor. Yes, Dr. Steinbeck, I agree.
I don't
We
know.
are.
I don't
Which
know.
is obvious.
I don't know. I prefer to maintain a healthy skepticism.
Of course, Mr. Mahoney, as indeed you should, Security Master. But the point of the supernatural is not that it is, bells and whistles and all the fine messages we send to the Pope on a Sunday. It is the thing that is a psychosis brought about by human behavior and brought into the real by their actions. Look at these people. They believe it is acceptable to murder people in corridors and pay no penance for it, and they are walking away. Anyway, they are going to come back. Sleep. Can you hear anything, Sleep?
I can't. I can only hear you four in this room. I mean, why would I hear anything other than...
I was hoping that when we posted you at the door to listen to the others, you might be able to hear them.
Others? What others?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But Abner Wick left to go and converse with the motorcycle twins. And
I know Abner Wick left. What do you take me for? Some kind of fucking moron?
All right, Mahoney.
No, I'm not calling you a putz or anything like that. I just...
Mahoney, what do we do about this mess?
Listen, all I know is you say we might have been coming across something supernatural. I know past 24 hours I've come face to face with natural and supernatural undead creatures coming at me, trying to kill me. And I got one friend in this world, and it's my Cult 45, and it's dealt with the natural and the supernatural. So this is what I'm putting my trust in, and I pick it out and I put it back in my pocket, and I make it very obvious that it's cocked and loaded in my jacket pocket.
Then you shoot your foot off.
Shoot my cock off. And I say, and I ain't afraid to use it. I ain't afraid to use it on Wick. And I ain't afraid to use it on any one of you if I think you're gonna double cross me.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
There's something that needs to happen, and Mr. Sleep, if you feel you must use it upon Mr. Wick at some point, I would not stand in your way, but I just have a sense that he is speaking some truth around...
I don't trust a word that man says.
Neither do I, but something is wrong, and I sense he is speaking the truth when he says that he has to put it right somehow, and no one else is able to.
Sometimes the best liars are those who use the truth when it's convenient.
Indeed.
And lie about the smaller elements of their story.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes, there is truth, a central truth to what he is saying. He has not told us all of the truth.
Yeah,
he has not told us all lies. I don't know.
I think this conversation about the natural and the supernatural and the motives and knowledge of Abner Wick, I think can prompt a group idea roll.
Yay!
So whoever's got the best intelligence.
Best intelligence? Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Patrick Joseph Mahoney.
Well,
God.
I guess there's probably a couple of smart cats. Well, it's maybe 70 for Dr. Montrose.
Oh, I suppose you think because you're a doctor you're pretty smart. Well, mine's 72, so...
I didn't say...
No, not 72, 70 as well.
Superbly rational mind.
You know what they say? Too many ducks spoil the broth.
But neither of us are as smart as Dr. Duckworth, is that right?
Duckworth is 75, yeah?
85.
85. Mine is 75. So
it looks like old PJ Mahoney's the dunce in the class again.
Who'd have thought
with his
that?
65 intelligence.
Look at us, we're all very intelligent. So Duckworth, it's down to you.
And yet, you're the least insane of all of us, so what does that say?
Yeah. Yes, Dr. Duckworth, you can Give me an idea roll.
Great. Just rolled a 96. Is there any way of pushing that, or is it...
Listen, supernatural or no supernatural, we gotta find out who took them papers. There's a woman involved. We should go and see the Amelia Court. We maybe should go and search the room. Whether or not Abner Wick, his motives, they don't matter. They don't matter for us finding the papers. When we find the papers, we decide what to do with them. My money's on doing the job, giving them to the guy who employed us to find the papers. But
I'm agreeing with PJ. While I think the way I'd want to push this role is, I suddenly realised that obviously my bout of madness ended where I thought I was beautiful, and I'm suddenly aware of my exposed face again with its sort of featureless sort of scarring, and it's out of my comfort zone. Maybe that's why I can't think properly. So I want to scour around and see if there's whether a piece of cloth or cardboard or a Hessian sack or anything I could use.
As you scout around, just as an offer, since it's a group luck roll, I might pull out my 45, stick it in your ribs, and say, "You're supposed to be the smart one. Think, goddammit, think. What do we got to do?"
Right, okay.
Beautiful. And don't fumble this. Don't fail the push roll with the 45 in your guts.
Yeah. I think that'd do it.
Do something.
It is cocked. He did say it was cocked.
Let me just, because idea rolls come up so rarely now, I think this would be a good use of the 7th edition rules. So the group luck roll is the person with the highest intelligence. So this clue... I'd say it's a regular success is required, which you failed.
Yep.
So we get a clue that leads us in completely the wrong direction for another 4 sessions.
Yeah. So here's the way, because I'm not sure we've ever had to do a proper one. So I am going to let you push it, but the way the idea roll works is, this is a regular success because it's kind of lateral thinking. So I haven't given you the clue loads. Yeah. So, but you have failed, so you can push it. But, if you win the idea roll, I'm going to give you the clue. If you lose the idea roll, you can still get the clue, but I have carte blanche to put you in a horrible situation.
Mm. Yeah, that sounds fair.
Like you don't anyway.
Yeah, right. a more horrible situation.
I think I'm a little slow. As the gun goes into the side of the guy, I get my tin of cocaine out meaningfully, very, very close to them.
Amazing.
Because I've had a lot of success with that with Montrose before, so I'm hoping some kind of aspect of that might help.
So to clarify, what's happened is Duckworth racked his brains.
I start looking around the room for a mask, but as it happens,
and then Sleep and Steinweg have stepped closer to him.
Well, he's put a gun in his stomach, and I've got a tin of cocaine.
Yeah, gun in the ribs.
Under his face.
Gun in the ribs, coke in the nose.
And I maybe as I sort of gasp in from the gun in the ribs, nice. I inhale a pile of the powder accidentally because I don't have my mask on. And as I'm sort of searching the room looking for anything that looks like a face, but still trying to rack my brains for this idea roll, the pushed dies 19.
You said 9.
On an 85. I can't spend luck on a push roll to make it an extreme, I suppose, but...
You don't need it, I don't need to.
But a hard success.
Great. This conversation you're listening to about the natural and the supernatural that Sleep's going on about, and then Dr. Montrose is going on about whether or not we can trust Wick, what he says and what he actually knows. It occurs to you that, yes, he may not know where the papers are. He probably can't help you find the papers.
Mm.
But given what you've seen that he can do and what he does have knowledge, it's possible you could ask him. He's potentially a font of other knowledge. So if you had a more oblique question, he'd probably be quite a useful person to ask.
Maybe a question about Keziah Mason.
So he may not know where the papers are, but there's probably a lot of stuff he does know that might corroborate some of your hunches.
Right.
Or dismiss them. Or to put it another way, he's been using you, as you discussed, but there's no reason you can't use him.
I think I coughed down that little cloud of... Thank you, Doctor. Please.
No problem, and I just dip my finger into my gums and...
Mr. Sleep, I have an idea. Please, take that barrel away from my ribs, will you? I have an idea. I promise.
Oh, excuse me, it's not even loaded. Don't worry about it.
Well, here we are. Yes, as we were saying, I basically pass this information on. I sort of say, listen, I feel with the level of control and intellect that Mr. Wick clearly has, he's been using us as this frontispiece, this battering ram to sort of get through whatever's ahead and use us as the sort of the pawns in his chess match. There's no reason we can't do the same to him. He has the intelligence, but he's clearly desperate to find out where these papers are. More desperate than us, I might assume, at this point. So is there any reason we can't turn the tables slightly and try and glean some arcane secrets from him that might lead us closer to the
game of chess? The game of chess is the perfect metaphor. I thought of that, actually, moments before, because it's... And perhaps this is an answer to your question, Mahoney, or to chime in with what you're saying, is we don't know how to deal with him in the end game, because we don't have enough pieces of his committed to our attack and his defense and his attack and our defense.
Yes.
So we need
him to
commit
show us something of his intentions for us to make that final judgment.
Why don't I ask him honestly whether he thinks, because I am Mason, and there's a deep breath. He rubs quite a lot of white powder into his gums. And as he...
Say it, Dr. Steinbeck, say it.
As he closes the tin, you will see there's very little left.
Put the sherbet dib-dab away. Tell us what you mean.
As he puts it away and says, what if I say to him, is there a chance that Keziah Mason would have been able to transfer her consciousness into the body of Amelia Court over the last 400 years? I know I sound completely insane. No, don't do that to me, Mr. P.J. Mahoney.
I don't understand what you use intellectual type.
Yes, we go. Mr. Mahoney, let him finish.
If I ask him whether it is possible, and he says yes to me, you have to understand, P.J., that it is a construct of his belief system. It is not the truth. We all know that. And I look at Duckworth, and I'm sweating, just sweating. The reality of thinking maybe it is the truth. And I don't dare look at the other two.
I get what you're saying. Whether or not we believe it doesn't matter. If he believes it, then he's going to act on it. I understand what you're saying, but how does that get us any nearer to finding where the papers are?
It then reveals we sacrifice a pawn, and we let him come closer to us, and we say, yes, we're going to go and look at Court's place now. And then presumably he will come with us. And if he does come with us, we will have to watch him like a hawk and be ready that we are entering into a part of the end game. But we can only move once we are closer. And then we ask him more questions about, what would she have done? Where would she have hidden it? But maybe the papers are here, therefore, etc., etc. And all the time we have our queen moving, and our queen is aware that it can move back to the office of Leiter and potentially to investigate it. So my next question...
Who are you calling a queen?
I don't mean it in that sense.
You're talking about prawns. I don't know.
Duckworth.
Can I try and intervene and just put a hand on...
This is why I like to work alone.
I'd like to put a hand on PJ's shoulder, and I want to try a persuade roll. But I think he'd be persuade, but I want to try and say, listen, PJ, you saw his eyes out there. Am I mistaken?
I don't know what I saw. It's all very confusing. This whole...
PJ, I don't know what I saw. I don't know what I saw. I don't know what took my face some years ago, but it was not something of this world. Things exist beyond that veil. We don't have to believe in them. We don't have to worship them or trust the people who expel these myths, but look at me and tell me that you don't think there is something otherworldly going on here, because trust me, there is. I want to get out of this, and I don't trust the academics any more than you do. Speaking as one of them.
Listen, if you think that you can somehow talk this Wick round to giving away information that'll help us find the papers, then go for it. I ain't gonna stop you. If you think we need to use him to get to court, then okay, yeah, why not? You know, prey on his ego, his fantasies, all that. And I go along with that. But at the end of the day, if we're going to go to court's house, we'll go there and we'll have a look around and we'll see what's there.
Yes, you're quite right. But we'll need your skepticism.
I'll go along with it. And you better know that I'm going to have my 45 trained on...
the problem is, Mr. Sleep, that you're as likely to shoot any one of us dead as you always did me. Just a short while earlier is Mr. Abner Wick. That is a concern of mine. Speaking only for myself, if the rest of you are content to take this chance, then, well, I cannot take your gun from you, sir. Nor would I intend to.
Can I just check, are we still in the foyer where the strangling happened? And
I think you're stood in the morgue around the table, and as Dr. Montrose says that, you suddenly hear this sort of and you become aware that Abner Wick is now stood in the doorway. He has a silk handkerchief and he's wiping the sweat from his face. There's like a tiny window near the ceiling, and a beam of moonlight just catches his eyes as he stands in the doorway, and he says, "My lady and gentlemen, I fear we may be running out of time."
Yes.
Do you have a plan?
I believe we do.
Dr. Steinweg's got a pretty good idea.
Yes?
Well, it occurs to me after our discussion at lunch, I have a very frank question that I need to ask you with your expertise and your understanding of matters beyond the normal understanding of even keen amateur occultists such as myself.
Yes.
Do you believe it would be possible that Keziah Mason would be able to in some way influence someone impressionable who was obsessed with the letters from the estate, someone keen to make her name in the academic community, someone who could be her doppelganger, as was my theory? How close is he to me suddenly? Is he really close to me? No. But if the woman who was the doppelganger from my theory at lunchtime was Miss Amelia Court, do you think it is possible that Keziah Mason could literally influence her through some sort of psychoactive suggestion? Maybe within the letters themselves? I don't know.
Let's see what he knows. He thinks for a moment, and he says, "Well, there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy, Horatio. I suppose if the stories of Keziah Mason are true, then it would be perfectly plausible that she would have some sort of power to cheat death. That is, after all, the benefit of witchcraft, is it not?
I believe that is one of the many benefits, yeah.
That is just superstition. However, it's funny you should make that connection. Amelia Court does have some lineage in that department. I have made it my business to know all the great families and bloodlines of Arkham. For a long time, he says, as he looks into the middle distance, and you get the sense that he's remembering.
She, of course, is named Court. It is cognomen syndrome, I say, turning to Duckworth. Yeah, Caleb Hobhouse is the clerk of the court. She is Amelia Court.
Yes.
There's some connection.
Indeed. You think she is the one who has the papers?
I think there is a strong possibility.
Then we must find her. And quickly.
You will help us. She may have hypnotic powers. I suspect you are immune yourself, but the rest of us are not. And we have the matter of Dr. Wheatcroft here, and the business that Mr. Mahoney must see through of securing of the whole of the campus. There is much to be done.
Where do you propose we begin?
The witch's residence.
Yeah, Duckworth, what do you make of it? It seems that we have two very able individuals in the form of Mahoney and Investigator Sleep.
Oh, it's kind of you to say so.
They could return...
About time someone recognized my skill set.
Oh, you have a very particular skill set, Mr. Sleep, that's for sure.
Able, but highly unstable.
I take that as a compliment.
It was not meant as one.
Well, I hate to say it, but pots and kettles and...
I don't vouch for myself for a moment for whatever is ahead of us.
Abner Wick under his breath says, "You're all insane." Right.
He's travelled this path before us.
I don't wish to weaken us or delay us any further, but Dr. Whitcroft does need to be put into a place where he could rest, perhaps back into the office of yourself, Mr. Mahoney. How far is
the office?
How far is Mahoney's office from Lighters?
Well, I got a cupboard.
or my residences.
It's not exactly what you'd call an office.
Well, this is on the campus.
Does Duckworth say that?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Steinweg's on a sabbatical here. He doesn't have an office. He doesn't have a cupboard.
I mean, I do have my own rooms here, obviously.
Should we not get him to, like, a hospital rather than put him in a cupboard?
No, he is fine, I say, slapping him.
He needs medical attention.
Hector and Carla can drive him to a hospital.
I don't think that would be necessary. I think it would be good if Sleep and Mahoney were to... Duckworth's office is it's not that far from Lighters, is it?
There's
the matron's office.
I suppose
there's a medical wing, isn't there? There's like
it's more potato in that one is real and the other is fictional.
Tomato, potato, whatever. I don't know.
I mean that.
But Dr. Duckworth is closer to Dr. Lighters, yeah?
Yes, but Dr. Steinweg, do you really believe that he will be safer in my quarters than he will being taken off on this motorcycle?
Yes.
Yeah. What?
You do?
No, sorry. My English is not always so good. Mahoney, am I saying yeah to that? I think I am.
I don't know what you're saying to that, but if you're saying yes, then yes.
Just how many people are meant to fit in this motorcycle? Just the two of them and three corpses, or two corpses and one...
St. Mary's is just across the block. Why don't we just take him there?
Right.
Yeah. Would it be possible to take it as read that we drop Wheatcroft off somewhere where he might make a recovery?
I think that's fine.
Or might not.
Drop him at the entrance, speed away.
Guys, I mean, I'm suggesting that we split the party and you two go and check out Lighter's office while the four of us, including Wick, have a long discussion about what to do about how to beat Court. And then you come back.
Oh, I see.
Option. I mean, if there's two better people for tearing something apart than you two, I don't know who they are. There's an office. Smash it to pieces.
It's up to you guys.
But that's what I mean. I don't want to necessarily split the party and weaken us when we have Amelia Court.
Okay, well, I'm going to do just a psychology roll to see whether I understand your suggestion. I do not. Gone straight over my head.
Yeah, but we took too long in the morgue. Also, let us all go. He will be fine. Mr. Beecroft will be fine. We will secure him, but we must get out of here. He's right. Mr. Vick, you're absolutely right. Yeah?
Mr. Wick, before we move, before we head on, you must have your own suspicions. I mean, I'm well aware that you're...
About what?
About what? Come, man. And then with that scrutinizing gaze you've just given me, for those of you listening, it was quite scrutinizing. I suddenly realise again I don't have my mask, and I glance around for anything that I might be able to... Is there any cardboard or any linen or...
Can I do a psychology roll as he's doing this?
You could probably make a linen face covering.
I rolled a 28 on my psychology, and I offer him my scarf.
Excellent.
Fine.
And I turn myself into the demon from Oh Whistle and I'll Come to You, My Lad. A crumpled linen face with points of light for eyes.
I instantly roll sanity. And pass.
If you'd failed, I would have made you suffer for that.
I would deserve it.
Listen, if we're gonna go, let's go.
Sleep says, "This is why I like to work alone," and he just exits the morgue. He just leaves. I walk out. I start walking out.
Good.
Right.
Hey, Mr. Sleep, wait for me.
I take the momentum of the situation. I wipe my sword cane off on my trousers and slot it back into the cane, and I march off behind whoever it seems I'm meant to be marching off behind.
So where are you all heading? That's the real question.
To Amelia Court's house.
Do we know where this Miss McCourt lives?
Yeah, of course. It's in
that would be a matter of of record, so that's easy to find out. Are you all going there?
I think we should.
Yeah, we drop Wheatcroft at the place where we looked that up, and
I mean, if Amelia Court is who we are looking for, then we're all going there. Of course, we're all going there.
Yeah.
So you're going to her residence,
and on the way we're going to discuss our plan, I think.
Although we still haven't been to Keziah Mason's. We still haven't ventured into the slightly wilder locales, have we?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, if let's take a hypothetical situation.
Yeah.
I'm using $3 words here. Let's say you're right, and all this supernatural hoodoo voodoo mumbo jumbo is true and real, and it's all happening. And she's this Keziah Mason who's taken over her body and is doing her magic and whatnot. Where would she go? Would she not go back to her own house?
I suppose it depends on how strong the pull was and what else the controllers wanted her to do. But yes, you're quite right. Perhaps let's all go there first.
Yeah. Or some of us could go to one and some of us could go to the other, and we could meet in the middle, so to speak.
Well, I think that it would be unwise for us to split.
I don't know.
Oh, well.
I feel like as long as we take one trigger-happy gunman each, we might be on equal footing.
How many sword canes have we got between us?
Well, quite.
Well, listen, I feel like I want to stick with Wick, I say, pointedly.
He puts a clammy hand on your shoulder and gives you a little squeeze. You're in good company.
Yeah, I want you to tell me more about your pooch.
I don't know what that means.
So, I think to Amelia Quartz, and we must talk about our approach. It is my fear that she has some sort of mesmeric ability, some sort of Svengali-like power.
So would that leave me and PJ and to go elsewhere and Dr. Mahoney to choose which party to be a part of? Or is this a stupid idea and we should all just go to Amelia Courts?
I mean, I'm repeatedly saying that I think we should stay together after we have rejected the idea that we would take Dr. Wheatcroft to the closest office to Dr. Leiter, when I suggested that it was an idea that we should potentially not do that. But it's all right. Let's restart the whole conversation. Now we're in the car.
Let's do it. No. You're quite right. I'm just, sorry, I'm just getting this around my face. I was slightly distracted. But yes, no, I agree. Let's go.
So you pull up at her cottage.
But we have a conversation on the way as to what our plan is.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're here now. I suppose we might as well just start here and then move on to the next place when we're done.
Yes, quite right.
Her cottage is like it's one step up from student accommodation, really, and it's somewhere in between campus and Charles Leiter's cottage. It's quite a small, quiet little cul-de-sac, and as you pull up in front of the cottage, the beams of your headlights catch the windows. You see it's completely dark.
It don't look like nobody's home.
No, let's check out the other place instead.
No.
I'm only kidding.
I'm with sleep. We go and check out the other place and see if there's lights on in there. Why would we go and hunt around?
Well,
if the lights are off, she's not there. We're looking for her.
We've come all this way. We'd best check.
Anyone got a flashlight?
What time is it?
It's probably about 9:30 at night.
There's a chance that she might be in there asleep. Why don't we get out and knock on the door?
It's been 24 hours. It's been like 12 hours.
I'll go and knock on the door if that's all right with you, Mr. Vic.
By all means.
Perhaps Dr. Montrose, you'd be so kind as to accompany me.
Yes.
I'll stay in the car.
Mr. Sleep, here is your torch. I picked it up in the hallway. I say,
most kind.
And I nearly throw up.
Cheers, Doc.
And I just about.
What the matter? Are you okay, Mr. Dr. Steinway?
It's fine. It's just this little impulsive reaction when I remember the fact that I made a terrible mistake in the hallway, and then I master myself, sweating, and I offer my arm to Dr. Montrose.
She takes your arm.
Shall we?
Lead on.
So you walk up the garden path of this little cottage. There's the sort of front door is actually to the side, and there's kind of windows on the front, so you can see into, like, there's a porch, and there's clearly windows into, well, you'd have to have a look.
Yeah, so back in the trenches,
It's one story as well, I should say.
Dr. Montrose, what we would do is we would send the faster men around the length of the smaller trenches around the back. Shall we send our young and strapping Mr. Sleep, Investigator Sleep, around the back?
49 years old.
It's young to me and young to Dr. Montrose.
I'm certainly not fast. I'm many things, but I am not that.
Oh, you and I are the officers leading the men.
I say from within my wizened scarf face, I say, I'm 38.
Yeah, sure, I'll be the patsy. I'll go around the back.
So, Sleep makes his way around the perimeter.
Excellent.
So much for that private conversation, as I imagined it, by the front door.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, that's fine. So as I'm knocking on the front door, can we say, Dom, just to sort of speed things up? I'm knocking on the front door, he's heading around the side.
Why are we speeding things up now?
So, yeah, you knock on the door. There is no answer. Round the back, what is Sleep doing? It kind of opens into a small garden. It's quite enclosed. There's trees and hedgerows.
What do you think he's doing? He's smelling the flowers, picking some herbs.
So, Dr. Montrose, I will go around the back with Sleep now. He should not be alone.
I like to
You
work alone.
are at the front with the other two, and I'll nip round.
He screams over the house.
But he's definitely round the back when I say that, so he can't hear me, right? Because I don't want to offend him, because I don't want him to shoot me. Dom, this is important.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you.
I like to work.
But he does constantly. He's just constantly saying, "I like to work alone."
PJ has suddenly realised that he's alone in the car with Abner Wick.
Oh God! Oh, that's it. Picking us off one by one.
Well, I think maybe I wandered up towards the door, and then I'll wander back to the car.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Dr. Montrose continues and gives it a moment for people to do what they're doing and raps on the door.
No one comes to the door.
Miss Court, it's Dr. Montrose. He spoke earlier. Are you there?
I tell you what, though, actually, who is at the door? Just Dr. Montrose is at the door.
Yes, if Dr. Dartworth is kind of retreating back towards the car.
I think you can give me a spot hidden.
I'll do that.
While you're rolling that, what do Dr. Steinweg and Sleep do while they're around?
Well, I'm going to look through the windows as I go round.
You can also give me a spot hidden.
And I would be doing the same.
07, which is remarkable because she has no points in it, but that is a hard success on a base 25.
Fantastic.
And I got a regular
And I have an
success.
excellent success.
So you all notice it's dark in there, and you have to sort of peer in, and you can see maybe, Dr. Montrose can see the hallway, and just beyond you can see what looks to be like a sort of sitting room. Steinweg and Sleep, you're looking through the kitchen. You can see the kitchen and through into some kind of lounge area. Steinweg, you're looking through into sort of some sort of sitting area and a sort of library study beyond. It looks like the place has been abandoned. Books are missing from loads of the shelves. They're gone.
I don't think anyone's been here for some time, gentlemen.
Yeah. Oh, well, we're on the opposite side, so we probably can't hear you say that.
Sleep, this is more your territory. I know you like to work alone, but I'm worried about you going in there.
In fact, with an extreme success, Steinweg, you notice that there are a few things, like there's a few telltale signs that this was maybe done hastily. There's, the rug is kind of rucked up in a certain way. There's a couple of like envelopes that have fallen on the floor in different places, like scattered. You spot those, and you see something almost liquid in the shadows of the bookshelves, moving down, almost like the darkness is thicker there. And you realize it's moving and kind of glistening.
I'm gonna head back to Sleep immediately. A man afraid. I'll grab Sleep's arm, but not in a sort of aggressive way, more in a kind of I need help way. And I will, as I'm grabbing him, I'll say, I think that something terrible has happened inside. Is the door open? But don't throw it open. Just to see, so that we can communicate with the others.
I'll check the door, but this ain't the place. Ain't nobody home.
Quiet now. Keep your voice down as well. There's something in there, some liquid on the wall. It's not natural. It's not right.
Liquid on the wall, but there ain't nobody home. We ain't gonna find court. We ain't gonna find the papers. But
try the door. I must get back to the others.
I try if there's a back door, I try the back door.
Oh yeah.
It is locked.
Scheiße.
But you hear something. You hear something that you recognize, Sleep. It's a sound that you heard in Charles Leiter's cottage. Like a large animal. Coming from inside the cottage.
But all I hear is the sound of something strange.
Yeah.
But I do hear something inside. He recognizes it, I don't know.
I say, there's some kind of animal in there. I think a cougar or something.
Dr. Montrose, step back! There's some kind of animal in there! Let us go in!
I don't want to face down a cougar, I mean...
That's what your gun is for, isn't it? We have no time left.
But you love animals.
Why do I want to shoot cougar? I love animals. Let's just leave it be. Let's go and find court. Let's find the papers.
What kind of investigator are you? There must be clues inside. She was up to something.
I'm a private investigator. I ain't a zoologist. What do you want from me?
To call Dr. Beerbaum, the zoologist professor? I think he's in Hawaii this week. He's on a holiday. He's on leave, annual leave. I can't call him. Maybe Mahoney could call him.
What do you want with the cougar? I don't understand.
Anyway, this is not about Dr. Beerbaum.
Meanwhile, back in the car, Abner Wick turns over his shoulder and says to PJ, "So, you are thinking of retirement soon?"
Well, I suppose I gotta fill my days.
Do you have any children, Mr. Mahoney?
Yes, sure. Let me just show you. This is these are my boys, Patrick Jr. And Joe and Brian and little Michael.
Let me see.
These are my grandchildren. So we got who we got here is we got Dermot, we got Sharon, Eli, we got the twins, Mary and Joe, and these are Patrick Jr.'s boys.
I regret this.
We got little William, we call him Little Billy, and his brother Stephen.
If it's fair to remind you, I did after they sort of split up at the front door and Montrose started knocking, I went back to the car. So I may be arriving back at the car.
Yes.
He's got this massive big string of photos.
And seeing him just...
You sit down in the car and you can't help but notice that Abner Wick is sort of humouring PJ, but his hand is kind of like half raised in a way that you recognise. And as you get in the car, he lowers his hand and says, "Well, you've got a very... very attractive family."
Well, there's we ain't finished yet. There's Enoch here and Kathleen, Nora, her sister Anna, and there's a littlest one, Emily. Yeah, she's only 6 months old. That's right.
I use the voice on Abner Wick. I say, "Brim shanglam blay." I do that voice from Dune. No, I want to say to Abner Wick, Mr. Wick, this is the house. Your expertise will guide us to what we need, I'm sure. This is a two-way thing. We can't find what you don't show us to. Will you come with us?
We're looking for Amelia Court, are we not?
Well, and nothing else? If she's not here, there'll be no clues to... Excellent, okay. Just checking.
Well, what do you want me to do? Have a look? I'll have a look if you like.
No, you just sit there. PJ's got some more photos, I'm sure. And I march back.
He opens the car door and he says, "Well, I'm sure it's quite hard to see out of that bag. Let's have a look for you, shall I?"
So, wait a minute. I got some pictures here. Little Kathleen. A picture of me when I was in there.
He walks up. So who's at the front door at this point?
Montrose. That's at the front door, and she's sort of...
I have shouted, Dr. Montrose, there's an animal.
You have. Yeah, well, she didn't yell, but she'll maybe hear you and maybe step back, still trying to see what a mess in there.
There is something in there. Something big. A big shadow moves across the room.
Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this.
And now you can hear it as well, this kind of growling noise.
She backs up.
Just as Abner Wick comes up behind you.
Right.
What is it? What's the matter?
Walks back into bumps. No, something in there.
He sort of gets up to the window, peers in, and then suddenly withdraws, and he turns to you and he says, "The papers leave traces wherever they have been, whoever they have touched. It's not safe here." And he looks back to the door and he says, "We must go. We must go now." He runs back to the car.
I think while they've been heading over towards the house, PJ's going to... He just sort of realises that he's on his own in the car now. So he clambers out of the back and says, I'll keep the engine turning over then, shall I? And gets in the front and says, "Now, of course I'm an excellent driver, but..."
Well, Montrose follows Wick as he beats the retreat, so you see the two of them anyway coming back down the path.
Where's Duckworth at this point?
Well, I was trying to rescue PJ from the car, but I seem to have just extracted Wick for a while. So halfway between the front door of the house and the car, I suppose. I'll be keeping a weather ear out, but I don't know what I've heard or seen.
Yeah, he's running back to the car.
Okay, that'll do it.
So Steinweg and Sleep, you're around the other side of the house.
Bickering about whether or not to go and tackle a cougar.
Yeah.
Why'd you say cougar?
I don't know, maybe not a cougar, just some kind of big animal. Listen, let's leave it be. This is not the place. And I start walking away. I start walking back around the house.
How can you be so sure? I whisper, but with a sort of forlorn sense of abandonment.
You're a bad influence.
Steinbeck has no idea what conversation just went on around the front of our house.
Oh, yeah.
Suddenly, Steinweg, you're near the back door.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear the glass smash.
Presumably I hear the glass smash as well.
Yes, indeed.
I instinctively go to my now completely broken and ruined sword cane, and then I begin to retreat with my eyes on the door.
Your eyes are on the door. So you see...
yeah, because I want to see if it's...
Yeah, something is coming out of one of the window panes that is now smashed. It has that sort of liquid shape, but it's sort of lots of tendrils sort of pushing their way through.
No.
And the shape behind it appears like it's as big as a bear, and it's just pushing through this hole. Can you give me a sanity roll?
Yes, absolutely.
Fuck's sake.
Run! Hear Dr. Montrose yell.
Which I have remarkably passed. But now,
Fantastic.
A 22.
Get away! Run!
You lose a point of
Yes,
sanity.
I do.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Here we go.
Triggering a bout of madness.
Is it fair to say that I've made it round the corner by the time this happens and I didn't look and I didn't see and I'm not looking back?
Actually, to be fair, yeah, you said you already started moving.
I heard the smash and maybe I looked back round the corner, but I'm round the corner so I can't see what Steinbeck can see. Because if I do, I'll die.
The question is, do I have to crank start this car to get it going?
Oh, tits, yeah. Dr. Steinweg, you obviously horrified by what's happening, but as you begin running back to the car, you suddenly feel overwhelmingly cheerful. I mean, you were right. You were right.
Yeah.
You're all wrong. And you now have a meanomania, which is, manic cheerfulness.
Meanomania.
Of course, it all makes sense now.
Irrational cheerfulness.
Just as well the cocaine's nearly ran out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, someone's replaced your coat with Mandy.
The downer is going to be terrible, but while it lasts.
Run!
I think I'm shouting to Sleep. Of course. We were right all along, Sleep. This is the best thing that could possibly have happened.
Sure, yeah, it's the best thing that could happen. Just follow me, get back in the car, leave the cougar.
The cougar is the confirmation, just like the Christian confirmation.
If you say so.
So you all get to the car. As you're in the car and the engine's going and the beams are on and you start reversing out the driveway, you see something come around the side of the house.
An amorphous black shape. A kind of horror in ink.
It was delicious. It was really nice.
Good.
And it was like a lamb shank with a Spanish tortilla. It was very nice.
Fit for Abner Wick
I've
himself.
wolfed it down. I think I'm probably gonna be Abner Wick in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Is that rhyming slang?
Touch of biliousness.
Cockney rhyming slang.
Can't be Abner Wick.
Oh, I think those eggs were off. I'm going to be Abner Wick in a minute.
Crimson letters, no.
The crimson letters of Howard Lovecraft.
I'm going to be Abner Wick all over the downstairs Shoggoth.
I'm feeling a bit Abner Wick, mate, I'm telling you.
Oh, mate. Oh, God.
Oh, no. Shoggoth wouldn't be rhyming slang, would it? It'd be Cthulhu. Oh, I feel Cthulhu calling. I'm going to use that all the time now. Every time I need a shit. Right.
On which note?